Telly Talk, where we talk about what's on the telly, and by that I mean we talk about what's on our minds, because we're Telly. I'm currently making cookies. I'm also Soul.
Wow, bro, you're making cookies while we're doing the podcast?
Yeah.
Tyler said,
because
I'm Tyler.
Cookies, and I'm making cookies.
Okay.
So.
If you must.
They're in the oven currently.
Boo. Okay.
We're watching we watched Coraline. We already watched it. Coraline is a great
Coraline has
movie.
been watched.
One of my favorite Halloween childhood movies.
I watch it like every Halloween.
Me too.
But I didn't watch it much as a kid. I don't know why. I don't know if my parents didn't let me watch it, but I didn't watch it till I was older.
When I watched it last night, I accidentally bought it, so now I own Coraline. Oh, I also own the bonus features, so I bought the movie and the bonus features, which just talks about the animation they did. It was kind of cool.
Oh, that's so cool. That's so good to know. I studied the movie a lot while watching it, and I think I figured out how stop motion animation works. I think I got there.
You should watch the bonus because they explain it.
Oh, please. Next time I'm at your house, I think I figured out why it was 3D compared to normal animation not being 3D.
No, okay.
I think I put it together.
I looked it up, and I think it's only 3D printed. Like, it's not 3D stop motion, it's 3D printed stop motion.
Oh, now I'm back to square one.
All stop motion is 3D.
Oh, okay. Now I'm back to square Tyler.
Okay. Like, all stop motion is 3D, but they 3D printed their figures.
It's okay.
So it was faster.
Anyways,
Coraline is based off a book by my favorite author, Neil Gaiman. He's amazing. I love him so much.
He has a lot of movies based on his books.
Yeah.
He's a real one.
Oh yeah, he almost all of his books are like either a movie or TV show. I recently watched Good Omens, and now I'm obsessed. I knew
you'd like that.
I want.
Oh my god, you would be.
And also like.
I haven't seen it, but like I know what it's about because it's pretty popular.
So good.
And I think of you every time I see it because I'm like, that's your author, man.
It's so good. I love it. I love them so much.
Neil Gaiman is funny to me because he's the only celebrity allowed on Tumblr.com. Like,
that's so true.
Everyone loves him, and he has like his own account, and everyone asks him questions, and he like says things all the time. He's the only celebrity they'll let on that platform have like a following, and it's great.
He like answers people's questions, and his answers are just so funny. I love him so much. My goal is to just either get an autograph from him or meet him. That is like my only goal.
I thought you were gonna say be him. Like I thought you wanted to be him.
Nah.
Wouldn't you like everything you write to become a movie?
No, because I'm a horrible writer.
Neil Gaiman. He wrote a book. Was it called Coraline? What was this book called?
Coraline.
And then it became a movie called Coraline? When did Coraline come out? The movie?
2009.
Oh.
Coraline? Okay, so we are going to compare the book to the movie. The book will be in like the second half of the podcast if you're interested.
Tyler hasn't read the book.
I read
just for the audience.
I read it like
to know. Bad.
And I marked all of the spots where there are major differences between the book and the movie, and there's quite a lot actually. It's like I have a lot of tabs in this book.
That's interesting.
I have like a whole sheet of all the differences.
Shall we start with our... Usually my notes from when I watch a movie, my notes are like, this is cool, I like this thing, but this movie, all of my notes were like, what do you think about this? Like, what do you think this means?
Oh yeah.
Which is different. Movie. It's a very curious movie. Okay.
I'm sitting next to my
Okay. My very first note to you, basically how this happened is I was watching the movie and we noticed that there was a ring of mushrooms around the old well. And apparently that's what a fairy circle is. Yeah. And I noticed the mushrooms and my roommate was like, that's a fairy circle. And my partner, and then I was like, what's a fairy circle? And my partner was like, that brings the fairies. And I was like, what do the fairies do when they get there? and they ask you your name and then do some other stuff. And then I went, holy shit, Wybie asked her name when he came after she went in the fairy circle. Is Wybie the Fae? And now and then my roommate was like, I mean, that is some people's theory. And I was like, holy shit, I did it. I connected the dots. So what do you think about that?
You're going to be really disappointed when we talk about the book. But I think the fairy circle around the well is more attached to the other world. Like, it's a portal. Because in the very end of the movie, when they throw the hand down the well, you see it falling down the tunnel, and the tunnel, like, the hole looks like the tunnel she crawls through.
I don't think it connects to the other world, because that would be really sad if it did, because that meant they gave the key back to her.
Yeah, that's other people's theories, that the hole, the well, is another portal to the other world. And, like, there could be multiple portals around the world to this person who eats children.
But if there were multiple portals, they wouldn't be so worried about getting through the door. Like, they wouldn't be so worried about having the key, because then they could just go through a different portal.
Well, some of the portals might be, like, inaccessible, or she doesn't know about them. Like, they might show up because someone goes through them. Like, that's how she creates the people, so maybe she, like, the mice are her spies, and the mice are only in the house ever.
Yeah.
So they only know of, like, that one door.
Oh, so the mice tell her about the doors, but there's other portals they don't know about yet.
There might be. I don't know. It's just...
I hope she doesn't find the key.
Well, her right hand is sentient, so... Oh, it did get crushed, so I don't know. Maybe.
I would... When it got crushed and they, like, threw it down with the key, I was thinking about how I would not keep them together, because I'd be so paranoid about the hand, like, reforming itself somehow. Like, getting back. They were very ballsy with that. Like, no hesitation. Yeah, let's throw the broken hand and the key down the well together. I would not, personally. Do you think Wybie's the Fae? I was so proud of connecting the dots, because they were like, yeah, they come and ask your name. And I was like, oh my god, that's what he did.
Maybe? I don't know. I think he was just, like, a side character kid friend.
I want to know the point of the fairy circle.
I think the fairy circle was just to imply that the well was important, or the well was there. I don't know.
I'm gonna believe Wybie's the fairy.
Okay.
Another thing, right when the movie started, like the little intro scene where she's making the doll, my roommate was like, Tyler, pay attention. Everything in this movie is intentional, which is why I was like, who's the little boy in the painting, even though that, like, wasn't the point. Anyway, apparently the doll-making tools are autopsy tools, not doll-making tools.
Yeah.
And that was really interesting to me, because I never noticed that before. I was just like, yeah, doll-making. And then it reminded me of the scene in Toy Story 2, where the guy, like, polishes up Woody. And that... We got this. We're in sync, man. That's my favorite scene ever. It's so satisfying to watch. As a child, I was obsessed with it. Like, his little organization and the way he, like, cleans. And then it's... Oh my god. It's such a good scene. It's such a good scene.
I love it. Getting my cookies out of the oven.
Are they good?
They're a little dark, but I have more dough, so...
Oh, I was wondering if this is answered in the book, because it's not answered in the movie, really. How did the Coraline... I mean, it's kind of answered in the movie, but it's confusing. How did the Coraline doll end up in the grandma's trunk? Because we see the other mother make it and, like, release it into the sky, and then they say that the doll in the trunk was the sister, the grandma's sister, and then somehow it's Coraline, and I'm confused how it got there.
Maybe the mice put it there? Or just
Because Coraline mentions how, like, the doll was probably changing, like, appearances. But I'm just confused about it. But I guess it doesn't really matter in the grand scheme of things. It's just, like, kind of confusing.
You're gonna be disappointed about the book. I'm just gonna tell you, like, the two main things, the differences between the book and the movie. The doll doesn't exist, and YB doesn't.
Fuck! That doesn't
YB
exist.
and his grandmother don't exist.
Oh my god.
They don't
Why
exist.
would they? I'm so glad they came up with him for the movie because he's so great. The grandma, YB and the grandma confuse me because, like, she's so worried about YB not going into that house because she doesn't want him to, like, fucking die, but then she literally lives with him, like, right next door. Like, why doesn't she move states or something?
Because she owns the house.
Does the movie establish that?
Yeah.
When?
I think in the beginning. Like, I remember.
Okay, I believe you. I was also confused why it was a house, but it was an apartment, but it's like a duplex, but like a threeplex. It's confusing to me. It's just a really big house, but it seems like Coraline's family has most of it to themselves, but then there's like a guy who lives in the attic and some women who live in the basement. Do you think the women are gay?
Oh, 100%. Yeah.
This movie's really confusing if you think too hard about it, which I never have before. I've never thought too hard about this movie before, and I've never been confused. And then this time I watched it, and everything was confusing to me, because I was thinking too hard. Like, I was so confused in the other world when the old woman opened up and then became young woman, and then someone had to explain to me that was, like, them when they were younger. And I was like, where,
honestly, when I read the book, I was honestly surprised that the grandmother wasn't in the book. She seemed like an important person being attached to the little girl.
The sister.
Yeah.
Yeah, how did they bring up the little girl in the book then? Like, how do they establish the grandma's sister if there's no grandma to have a sister?
There's no grandma's sister, it's just a little girl.
But it's just like, does she have, like, a backstory? Like, do they talk about her?
Yeah,
like they do in the movie?
Kid has a backstory that they don't.
Oh my god!
In the movie.
Tell me about him.
We'll get to that when we're finished talking about the movie.
Okay.
Let's see.
I really thought the person who was the boy in the painting was important. Like, that was the little boy who used to live there who went missing. But I guess it was just showing the contrast between the different worlds.
Actually, it might have been.
But I just, like, why a little boy, not anything else? Like, I just thought, like, the fact that it was little boy had significance.
It might have been one of, like, the little boy who was the ghost. It might have been, but I don't think it was anything. I think it was just there to show the difference. Because she looks at it before she crawls through the door, and then after she sees the difference between the paintings. That's when she realizes she's in a different place.
I know. I, like, that's, like, the obvious meaning. I just, like, was unsure if there was, like, an additional significance.
I kept track of the days, how many days it took her to do certain events, because in the book, it takes her, like, months to, like, actually go through all of the entire movie, where in the movie it's, like, 4 days, 5 days. Literally.
So fast. She's, like, they get her quick, man. They suck you in fast. I noticed a lot of cool things in the movie because I was paying more attention than usual. I've probably noticed this one before, but I thought it was cool to see the dad typing at the computer with, like, his, like, wrists, like, bent, and then, like, is, like, the same when he's, like, in that room, but it's a piano, and his wrists are, like, at the piano when she walks in. I thought that was a really interesting contrast. Like, the same position of his body, but it's a piano instead. Them being gardeners confused me, because they write books about gardening, but the mom at the end is like, I don't know how to garden, and then at some point Coraline is like, my parents don't have time to garden, so why do they write books about gardening?
In the book, they don't have, like, a distinct job. They're just people who have computer jobs. That's what they're described as. And I think in the
Oh.
movie, they just write like plant catalogs, meaning like like a Target catalog, how you can like scroll through it and like look at what you want to buy. I think that's what they
Yeah.
make. Like they're not researching plants; they just like make plant
I
catalogs.
thought it was Plant Book because they were celebrating getting their book published.
Well, they said catalog like 3 times.
Oh.
I
I
don't
don't
know.
know. It was just seemed like a whole thing where they like went to the publishing place and they were like, "Hey, we got the publishing deal." I don't know. This is confusing. The mom was a dick to the dad when they went to do that because I don't remember what she said, but she was like, "At least he'll like my pages," or something like that. And then
Oh
immediately after
yeah.
was a bitch about the gloves. And the mom pisses me off. And I don't think she had enough of a redemption arc just by getting the gloves. I think she needs to be a nicer person still to her whole family.
Oh yeah. The mom is like the dominant figure in the story. The
Yeah.
dad in both worlds are both like underneath her. They don't have like an equal leveling in their family, and I don't like
Matriarchy.
her. I don't like her.
She's a
She's
bitch
mean.
and she's way too cruel and the dad's pretty sweet. Even if he's a little bit dismissive, he's at least not mean. She's mean.
I love the dad.
What else did I notice?
He's
Oh,
weird.
when she pulled out the key to the door, I noticed for the first time that the circle of the key looks just like the button eyes.
You just realized
I don't know why.
that?
Bro, I watched this movie like 3 times every other year, never paying all that much attention. I also think it might have been that thing, when you watch a movie and you realize something and then you don't watch it for a couple years and then you watch it again and then you realize the exact same thing because you had forgotten about it and then you're like, oh, cool. Even though you probably realized it the first time.
Yeah.
I think that's what I did. I did that. Remember when I was telling you about Scream 3 and I was watching it the first time and I went, man, she should have another gun in her leg because he's not having her recheck with the thing. And then the second time I watched it, I said that again and then it happened and I went, holy shit, she did it. And then I had a deja vu back to the first time I watched the movie when I did the exact same thing. That's what was happening, I think. I think I've noticed that. Just I had a little moment where I was like, oh, the other mother's like a spider. And then my roommates were like, you just realized that? And I was like, no, I think I've realized this every time I've watched the movie and then have forgotten about it every time I've watched the movie.
Bruh.
She's using Colorful World to lure people into her trap to eat, and that's really cool. Spider themes.
Oh yeah, when they're eating dinner for the first time, the other mother doesn't have anything on her plate. Cause she
Oh
only
shit,
eats
that's so cool.
souls. Okay, I have a question, a theory, if you will, about like the other characters in the other world. Like, are they spirits? Are they other people that, like, are they other kids that have lost their memory to the point where they're just usable souls that she can, like, create people with? Or are they just, like,
I
puppets
I
that
had
she's
questions about
controlling?
this too because we were talking about how she makes them sentient, like they have their own conscious and can make their own decisions.
Yeah.
And I was like, why would she do that if she's going to be pissed when they choose to be nice and good? And basically they're puppets, right? She's controlling them. They're puppets she controls. And I was told that the reason she makes them sentient beings instead of controlling them all the time, so that way she doesn't have to control them all the time, they could just do things on their own. So she doesn't have to do as much work, I guess.
Oh yeah, because there's one.
But
There's one point where
you go.
the dad, Coraline approaches the dad and she's like, "Where's the other mother?" And he's like, "Oh, she's resting right now." And then he blurts out a secret, and then he's like, "Oh no, other mother is mad," and the piano covers his mouth and turns him around.
Yeah, so it's she's just she's too busy sleeping and living life and planning things to be in control of her puppets all the time, so she makes them sentient. But then there's the question of how does she make them sentient, which is what you're getting at, is do they put a soul inside of them? or how does that work? Because, like, she makes puppets, but then does she put a soul in them?
I think because in the book and the movie, the ghosts, they're like, oh, we don't remember our names or who we are, but we just have the memories of, like, a glimpse of our past, and, like, just that we're people. And so over time, no matter, like, as the longer you're there, the more you lose. So I guess children who are there for so long just become empty souls or something that she uses to create other people, which is
That could be it.
Is what
I was kind of confused about this soul thing. So I was confused about the eyes, right? Because I was confused why she only needed to find 3 eyes if everyone has 2 eyes and they sew out both eyes. Why did she only have to find one eye for each kid? And then I was like, why don't they look like eyes? Why are they random objects? So it was explained to me that she's not really looking for their eyes, she's looking for their souls, but they just call them eyes. And this annoyed me because I was like, what happened to their eyes then? Like, where are their eyes? I thought the point of this was the eyes. But they're just metaphorical eyes. That's what I was told. They're like, she eats the real eyes, and then the metaphorical eyes are their souls. But why don't they just call them their souls? Why are they calling them eyes? I was really upset by this.
In the book, they call them souls.
Oh my god, why'd the movie have to make everything more confusing?
I don't know.
Oh my god. That makes so much more sense. Okay, just calling them souls. That's so much better. Okay, I'm so much at peace now.
Oh, okay. There's a thing. Okay, I want to say this. So, in the movie, when they make the deal, the Coraline is like, if I lose, you get me. If I win, I get the children and my parents. And she's like, okay. But in the book, she is like, if I win, I get my parents and my souls. And if you win, you can have me, but, like, I need something from you, too. And she's like, okay, you can have my right hand. Which is why she loses her hand in the movie, but they don't put that in the movie. So they don't explain why her hand just, like, gets... I mean, they do, but, like, there's, like...
They do, but there's no, like, other meaning behind it. It's just as a thing.
I wish they put that in, because it would have been so much cooler.
Cool. So, like, that might have just been a lot for kids. I don't know. Just, like, it'd make the movie more confusing. Another layer, if you will.
Like, I thought it was... I love that she, like, bet her right hand. Because she's like, I'll give you my good right hand.
Did you notice? That ties into something else. Did you notice Coraline's left-handed? Her left hand's the one she writes with when she does the doors and windows. Her left hand is the one that gets, like, the poison on it. Her left hand is the one she puts the single glove on towards the end of the movie. It's always her left hand. She writes with her left hand. So I think it's interesting that she bet her right hand and Coraline's left-handed. I don't know. It's just, I don't know what the meaning of that is. We theorized that they made her left-handed. To making them opposites makes a lot of sense. And then before we do the right hand thing, we were saying they made her left-handed to, like, emphasize her, like, outcastedness.
Yeah.
Apparently, I didn't know this, but this was pointed out to me. There's, like, a rule in cursive when you write the letter O.
Oh, yeah.
Did you know about this?
Yeah.
Where if it has, like, 1 loop, it's the truth, and 2 loops, it's a lie. And I was like, that's stupid, because if everyone knows the rule if they're writing cursive, then everyone's gonna know you're lying. I don't know, it didn't make sense to me. But that's the thing, apparently. And then on the cake, when she has her first meal, and it says, welcome home, the welcome O is truth, but the home O is a lie, because she's welcome, but she's not home. And I thought that was a very interesting detail. Very cool attention to detail in this movie.
I think they put that in because kids nowadays don't write in cursive or read cursive, so they wouldn't know the secret language behind cursive.
Oh yeah, I thought that was so cool.
Why do you think she eats bugs? Because she eats souls, but she also eats bugs.
I think that was part of the spider imagery.
Oh, I guess, yeah.
Do we ever see her eating a bug? I know there's bugs in her, like, room.
She
Okay.
eats bugs in the books, and then at the end, she like opened a box of chocolate beetles and like squished them
Oh,
in her mouth.
right. Okay. So, Spider. She's Spider. Her design is so funky, I like it. So, in her world, she wears black. The YB wears black. The dad, the other mother wears black and red, and the dad wears red. So the themes on there are like people wearing like black, white, and red. And then the world is really, really bright because it's supposed to be like a spider trap, like luring her into this world to eat her. And then Coraline's normal world, everything is really, really bland, but the dad wears green and YB wears colors. And Coraline wears mismatched colors, I think, to represent her, like, childhood.
Yeah.
And the mom is also bland in both worlds, which is interesting because the mom's a bitch. So she wears bland colors in every world. Why was she looking for the well in the first place? Like, how'd she know there was going to be a well to, like, look for?
The women told her there was a well, and she just likes exploring, so she went to go look for it.
Okay. I like simple answers to my questions. Last thing was I've been trying to figure out the emphasis on everyone repeatedly getting her name wrong in the real world. I don't know if it's in the other world everyone gets her name right, so I don't know if it's an emphasis on like we listen to you, like it's more of like it goes with the trap, like no one in the real world listens to you so they get your name wrong, but down here we listen to you and we get your name right. But I didn't know if there was like a deeper meaning.
I feel like Coraline is such an odd name, and Coraline
because it's Caroline but the vowels swapped. Yeah, and I didn't know if that went into like the whole theme of there being like an opposite but almost identical world, because Caroline and Coraline are opposite but almost identical names, and there's like two worlds that are opposite but almost identical.
I feel like they got them wrong because they're all old people, and old people don't give a shit about anything and always get things wrong no matter what.
Yeah, but I was thinking of like the author's reason for it. And I'm thinking it's like a mix of like no one in the real world listens to her at that point, and then like the underlying like cool meaning is it's like an opposite of Caroline but almost the same.
Yeah, I see that.
Cool. That's my I like reading into things like that. Like in English class where they're like, why is the shirt red? Why is her name Coraline? It's important that her name is Coraline and not Caroline, and I want to know why the author made her named Coraline.
Maybe the author
and
just
why he emphasized
Coraline.
But then he goes on to emphasize that everyone gets it wrong, and like that was on purpose, and I'm intrigued by it.
The authors made the shirt red because his favorite color was red.
Okay, he's just always wanted a kid named Coraline, and he was like, I'll write a book.
None of his kids
That's
are
his
named
favorite baby
Coraline.
name. He has kids.
Yeah, he's like 60, man.
Good for him. I don't know. I imagine him being like a hermit.
He's like kind of like that, I guess.
Okay, I think I'm done. Your turn.
You're done? Wow, you're just leaving me? How dare you?
No, I'm done coming up with ideas. I'm just gonna respond to your things now.
Wow, not gonna include yourself in my conversation.
That was all my notes. It's your time to shine.
All right. So now we're going to talk about the book, and the book is so much different than the movie. And I'm kind of sad that they changed some things, but also kind of glad that they included some things.
I think they added YB because they wanted a boy main character.
No, definitely not. I think they just wanted her to have like a kid friend.
Oh yeah, I agree. They wanted to have another kid in the movie, and I think they wanted a boy to make the movie more appealing, so it didn't seem like a girl movie. Like it makes the movie more gender neutral, coded for kids, because kids are picky about stuff like that.
I guess.
It's like a scientific thing where kids, if they think something is gendered a specific way, they won't want to participate in it. They've done a bunch of studies on it with kids, and I think it's really interesting. Like, kids will remember things better if they think... Like, a boy will remember things better if he thinks it's for boys, and a girl will remember something better if she thinks it's for girls. And I feel like the movie became more appealing to sell better to more kids if there was also a boy prominent character. That's my theory for why they added a boy. Also to give her another kid friend. So she wouldn't be, like, alone the entire movie, because that'd be kind of awkward pacing. Yeah. You gotta have her talk to someone. Yeah. Well, I love the cat. Can we talk about the cat? Can we talk about the cat? I love the cat. Oh my god. He's so great. I like that he can talk. I like that he catches the little mice. I like him. He's so cute. He's so interesting. He knows all the little wormholes. Just like you think there are other portals, he knows all of them. He knows all the portals to the universe. Yeah. And he goes through them all the time. And the other mother only knows one. And he just comes and goes. And he's just a good boy. And I'm so glad. And I had a little theory that the reason that even though he's supposed to be, like, wild, the reason he is with YB all the time is because he wants to protect YB from the house, too. And the other mother. That's my little theory.
For sure.
He because he knows about the other mother. Headcanon, he's protecting YB, and that's why he stays by him.
He also tries to protect Coraline a little bit.
He's a good boy.
She doesn't listen.
Oh. And the mice. The guy with the mice was funny to me. Because apparently the little metal on him is, like, from, like, cleaning up a thingy, and then that's why his skin is blue.
Yeah, he was from Russia, and so he helped clean up Chernobyl, and he had so much radiation that he turned blue, which is actually
That's so fascinating. Holy shit.
And I love the circus mice. And the circus mice song is, like, my favorite in the entire movie.
I thought that it was... Because the other mother's mice are, like, spies for her, but then his mice were, like, helping Coraline. And I thought that was interesting because I think it's weird that he can talk to the mice, because they were like, tell Coraline to stay away from the door. And he was like, that's what the mice said. But then he was like, oh, but they called you Coraline. So then you're like, oh my god, her name is Coraline, not Caroline. So the mice were telling the truth. Stay away from the door. And that was just a cool little detail for me.
I think he can talk to the mice because he's training the mice and just understands them. Because he doesn't abuse his mice. It's a mutual relationship.
That's fucking crazy. He can have whole conversations with the mice. Tell Coraline to stay away from the tiny door. And he's like, okay. Like, what the fuck?
Sure, I don't know what you're talking about, mice, but okay. Prominent things about the book, I have a lot to say. Wybie doesn't exist, his grandmother doesn't exist. His grandmother? Okay, so in the book, in the drawing room where the door is placed, all the furniture is from Coraline's grandmother. And so, I think they replaced Coraline's grandmother as, like, a concept with Wybie's grandmother. Because Coraline's, I don't even know, because she just complained that the furniture is from her grandmother and that it's super uncomfortable. And that, like, I don't even know. But I think they just replaced her character with Wybie's character.
Mm-hmm. Wybie's grandmother. And then they made it, like, more important to the story, too.
Yeah.
Why was the grandmother so weird as a background character? She was so nice at the end when she appeared, but, like, whenever she would just, like, scream Wybie's name and, like, ring a bell, it was so ominous, like he was being controlled. It was so weird.
I feel like that's just because she's old and he probably doesn't have parents.
Yeah. Coraline was so mean to him. She really was like, why were you born? Like, I didn't realize that, like, she said she was the one who came up with that. That was so mean.
Well, that's literally his name.
It's just Wyborn. And she added the whole sentence, so that was a really mean thing to say. Goddamn.
Well, his name is Wyborn, which is
I know, but she didn't say it like... No, I know, but, like, she didn't say it like, oh, as in, why were you born? But she said it, like, angrily to him. Like, she was, like, attacking him with that. Like, that was so shitty.
Well, why he did almost, like, run her over with his, like, bike and did scare her?
Yeah. I don't know. It was an overreaction, I think.
I mean, if I was terrorized by a dude on a bike with a scary mask, I think I would be a little mean.
I think we have different perceptions of the scene.
Maybe. I guess.
Maybe. What's next?
The dad is
Charlie, my
different.
boy.
Who's Charlie?
The dad, that's his name. Charlie.
That's his name? His name is Charlie?
Yeah, they say it twice in the movie. They say it 2 times, and I loved it. Yes.
What?
We noticed very different things in the movie. They say Charlie twice, and I was like, oh my god, his name is Charlie.
He definitely didn't have a name in the book.
It's Charlie.
Ew, I don't like that name. He looks like a...
I love the name Charlie.
I don't know what he looks
Charlie's one of my favorite names.
He looks like a Neil.
Oh my god, he does look like a Neil.
Okay. So the other dad is different than in the book. So in the book, the house isn't described as the Pink Palace. It's just a big house that used to be like a mansion that was split up into different apartments. And it was actually 4 apartments instead of 3. And the 4th one is just empty. And there's a door.
So it wasn't like a big house, it was just like an apartment.
No, it was a big house that was a mansion.
Oh. Oh. But in the movie, it's called an apartment, but it's just a house.
No, so in the movie, there's the Pink Palace, which is what the house is called, and it's pink, and it's split up into little apartments. In the book, it's a big house, but it's not labeled like the Pink Palace. It's just an old big mansion that's split up into 4 apartments instead of 3. And the 4th one is empty. Nobody lives there. And I think it's like abandoned maybe. And Coraline asks her mom like to go in there or like to see it or wondering what's behind the door, and she's like, oh, nobody lives there, blah blah blah. But then the other mother, when Coraline was looking for the souls, the other mother was like, maybe you should look in the empty flat. And Coraline was like, it's locked. And she's like, oh, do you need the key? Here you go. And she like unlocked the door, and Coraline went into the flat, and I think it was kind of like, it also had a basement. So it was like kind of like a townhouse with a basement. And she went into the basement because nothing else was in the rest of the house. She went into the basement, and the other dad was there. And in the other dad in the movie, he turns into like this weird pumpkin thing on the
I was wondering about that. Like, she like stuffed him. You see it like right before she calls him Pumpkin as like a pet name, and then you see like he got fatter, and there's like a pumpkin stuffed inside of him, and I was very intrigued by that.
Yeah, in the movie, he turns into a pumpkin and like sits in the garden, but in the book, he is in the basement of the empty flat, and I don't think it describes it as anything other than just a big blob. The dad is described as no features on its face, which had puffed and swollen like bread rising dough. So it just had 2 button eyes with just it was just a huge blob with button eyes and like a little head. And she describes it looking like a grub, which is nasty.
Yeah.
Like, imagine a grub with little tiny stick arms and legs and button eyes.
Oh no, I don't like that. So
that's what the dad looked like. And he was in the basement, and he kind of did the same thing as he did in the movie, where he was like, the other mother put me down here as a distraction just to hurt you. There's no soul down here. And he did that in the movie where he was like, I have to hurt you, but I like don't want to. So I'm just gonna give you the soul as I
That part
drown.
was so sad. That was so sad.
Character. I love him so much.
He's so sweet.
He's just this giant blob that's used as a distraction. And you know in the end of the movie where the cat like scratches the other mother's eyes out and she becomes blind?
Yeah, she really she sacrificed that boy. She just chucked him.
In the movie, she doesn't become blind, but the dad does, because when Coraline's fighting the other dad, because he has to attack her under the other mother's control, she like rips out his eyes, and then she has to like escape, kind of like how she was like crawling out of the web. She had to like run up the stairs and leave. And so that's what
That's
I was hoping
cool.
with the other dad. I don't
Was there
think
spider imagery in the book, like in the movie? Like, the
Yeah.
movie had a lot of spider theme. Okay.
Yeah. The cat was her only friend that she, like, relied on. There was no other person that was, like, helping
I
her.
loved him.
In the book, there's two different kinds of mice. So the bad mice, the evil mice, were black, and the good mice were white. The white mice are the good and the real mice, and the black mice are the evil and the button-eyed mice. And in the movie, you can kind of see that the real mice were like pure white, but the button mice were like a tan color. They weren't black, but they were like a little tan. The book starts out right away introducing the door. Like, the first line of the book is that Coraline discovered the door a little while after they moved to the house. Like, it's literally immediately the door.
Oh, that's so fucking cool. That's a good first line. I like that as a first line.
There's no introduction.
It immediately, like, intrigues you.
Until, like, the third paragraph. And, he just, like, goes straight to the door.
But good. Genius writer. I'm gonna read his book one day. Any of his books. I'll read one.
She doesn't interact with the door for, like, 3 weeks. Like, in like, the third page, she's like, yeah, it's, like, been 2 weeks since we moved here, blah, 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 blah. And it's raining and I'm bored. So it takes her, like...
Movie moves quick, man.
Actually, 2 weeks, she, like, moved in, explored around the house, and then explored the house, and then found the door, and then wanted to see what was in the door. And, the door is described as bigger. Like, I think it's, like, an actual door rather than a tiny door, because I forget...
I like that it's a tiny door.
Me too. I had a tiny door in my childhood bedroom that led to an attic.
You did?
No,
it was so cute.
It used to be you know where my bed was? That's where...
Yeah.
That entire room used to be the attic, and the little door used to be where that big door was. And then they moved it so I could have, like, a playroom. But, like, that tiny door low-key scared me when I was a kid.
I was gonna ask if the movie made you scared of it.
I don't think so.
Oh. I like the little door. Your bed blocked it, though.
I don't know if she actually got her gloves in the end of the book, because she looked at them.
That makes the mom even bitchier.
But I don't remember her reading that she got it. She might have.
That bitch-ass mother.
I'm not sure.
Regardless, the mom sucks. She needs a hard redemption arc, a personality reset.
Oh, the rock, the candy rock with the stone, the hole in it, wasn't made of candy in the book. It was just like a rock. It was just a stone that came out of, like, this little box that the women had in their basement. And I think it was much cooler that it was carved out of candy, like really old candy.
It was just random. I don't get the point of it, but yeah.
I think there is, like, history relating to the years of the candy, relating to their shows, like their old shows that they did with the posters in the back. People have connected this. Like, the years of the candy connected to, like, their shows that they did when they were younger or something. I don't know.
Oh, shit. We need to do another Coraline podcast in the future after, theory. Watching a bunch of theory videos.
Oh, yeah. There's an empty flat that doesn't exist in the movie. The little boy painting, instead of holding an ice cream cone, he was blowing bubbles.
I wonder why they changed that.
The cat was pretty much the same. In the movie, she sleeps to teleport back to her real world, but in the book, she just crawls back through the door multiple times. Like, she never sleeps in the book.
I wonder how the teleportation works, knowing that there's holes you have to crawl through. I wonder how that works in the universe.
No idea.
I'm glad the book just has her crawl. I don't like that the teleportation. It doesn't make sense.
Oh, oh my god, I totally forgot I had cookies in the oven and they're fucking black.
Oh my god, I thought you said they were done.
No, I have more.
Oh my god, you made more. Oopsie daisies.
When her parents go missing, she actually calls the police in the book. She calls the police and she's like, hi, my parents were like kidnapped. Actually, they were more like adult napped and they're gone.
I would do the same.
My other mother kidnapped them into another portal. Now they're trapped in a mirror. That's literally what she said to the police. And the police were like, uh-huh, little girl. Okay, well, you go tell your mother
god,
it's chocolate and go.
It's Paranorman all over again. Because, like, bro, you gotta learn. You're, like, 11 years old, man. You gotta learn to, like, lie sometimes. Because adults are not gonna believe the crazy shit you're going through.
Yeah.
You gotta just say, come look, my parents are missing. Like, that's what you gotta start with.
Yeah. She's like,
don't tell them there's a secret universe. God, like, Coraline, you can't just say that.
Okay. And then she's like, you guys do this. Or she was like, go tell your mom to make hot chocolate. And she was like, yeah, I'll tell her that when I see her. And then she, like, hung up and went to go find her parents. Also, her parents go, I wrote this in my notes, let's see. Her parents go missing.
I was confused about them going missing because they were missing when she came back through the portal. But up until that point, like, she escaped. Up until that point, the other mother had her. So I don't know why the other mother took them while Coraline was still trapped down there. Like, why didn't she wait till she escaped to steal them? I didn't understand.
Oh, before I get into like the timeline of the book and the movie, on the mantle of the other world, there was a bunch of snow globes on the mantle, and it was the same as in the real world. And, like, that's where she hid her parents or whatever. But in the real world,
yeah,
in the book, there were no snow globes. And then in the other world, there was one snow globe. And so that's how she knows.
Oh, I like that. I like that a lot.
So the timeline of the book and the movie, the book has a longer timeline than the movie. Like, it took her 2 weeks to find the door, but then in the movie on day 2 she found the door, and then day 2 night she went through the door. Oh, in the book they had their true forms throughout the entire time. She didn't, like, carbon copy their parents. She just looked like the scary spider creature the entire time.
Oh shit, why was Coraline just down for that? What the fuck?
I don't know. Like, she looked slightly more presentable, but not really. Like,
God damn. No, you know, I like the movie Steak better.
You know when she was, like, in the middle ground of, like, her, exactly like her mother in, like, the spider creature, where she had, like, the long nail? That was what she looked like for the majority of the book. And then at the end, she turned into the spider creature.
I liked that she looked just like the mom, except for, like, the eyes. I thought that was really neat.
Oh, yeah, that was cool.
It was really creepy. I liked it a lot. It was more unnerving with just a slight difference.
Oh, I thought it was cool. This isn't part of the book, but in the movie, in the real world, the women they stuffed their dogs and put them in angel costumes, and then in the other world, they become, like, bat dogs, which is really
cool. Like the angel, and then, like, bats in the wings. That was so cool.
Oh, the woman? So the other mother is called a beldam, which beldam has a couple different meanings. It either means, like,
that's really what I was wondering.
Good-looking person, or it means witch, or, like, evil stepmother.
Witch.
And so
evil stepmother.
She's a witch.
That's so accurate.
In the book, the dogs could talk as well. In the other world, when she first goes down into the women's basement in the other world,
I gotta read this book. I gotta read this.
Oh yeah, it's so good. And the dogs, like, run up to her with the flashlight and, like, shine it in her face, and then the dog's like, tickets please? And she's like, I don't have a ticket. And then he's like, oh, whatever, follow me, and, like, brings her to the seat. And since Wybie's not there, there's just a dog next to her, and the dog could talk.
It's so cute.
And instead of the
I
women
love
doing
that.
like a musical, or like in like the trapeze trick or whatever. They did a
Mm-hmm.
magic trick or like a stunt where they asked for a volunteer,
Yo.
and Coraline got pulled up to stage, and she uh, stood on like a target and put a balloon above her head, and one of the women, like threw knife at her head and like popped the balloon, and then after that she
That's
was
so
given a
cool.
box of chocolates, and she went back to her seat, and the dog was like, "Are we gonna eat those?" And she's like, "No, you can have them." And the dog's like, "Actually, chocolates aren't that good for me, so I don't think I can eat them." And she's like, "Oh, okay."
Teaching children dogs can't have chocolate.
I loved it. I loved that scene. It was adorable. Um, let's see what else. So in the movie, she realizes that her parents are missing, and she sees them trapped in a mirror. And then she goes back to the world, and she gets thrown into the mirror. But in the oh no, wait, it might be the other way around. No, she gets trapped in the mirror before. So in the movie, she gets trapped in the mirror with the souls before she realizes her parents are missing. Did that happen in the movie, or did that happen in the book?
That happened in the movie too.
Okay, so that only happened in the movie. Where in the book, she realized her parents were missing before she got trapped in the mirror and met the souls.
Okay, I was wondering about that. So that answers that one question I had.
And Wybie saves her from the mirror, where instead I think she just gets pulled out. Yeah, she just gets pulled out and brought to dinner, and she's like, "You better behave now." And she's like, "Okay, let's play a game." And then that's when they make the deal of losing her right hand.
Mm.
I thought it was
Okay.
interesting that at the end of the movie, Coraline goes back to the real world with the other world's clothing. Like, she has the sweater and the shoes and the
Oh,
pants,
really?
and they don't change. And I don't know.
Does she keep the hand? What does she do with the hand in the book?
I think it gets thrown down the well. I'll get to that. But I don't know
Okay.
if like the clothes in the movie, like in the movie, she goes back to the real world with the clothes that the other mother gave her. I don't know if she's the only one who sees the clothes that the other mother gave her, and she's just wearing her normal clothes that the neighbors and her parents could see. I don't know if it's like her own POV thing, because they didn't question, why are you wearing such fancy clothes? You don't wear these. Oh, in the book, she isn't given special clothing. All the clothes in oh yeah, she is. She does. She does. She gives like orange boots and the same sweater, but her closet's filled with like Halloween costumes as well. Like there's a witch costume, a scarecrow, a pumpkin, and then like the special clothes she was given. And I thought that was really interesting.
Wait, I kind of love that.
In the movie, there's when she's exploring outside, there's an old barn in the background that like
Mm-hmm.
isn't mentioned or noticed at all. It's like behind the garden, kind of. In the book, instead of a barn, it's like an old tennis court, which kind of plays with like, oh, the house used to be a mansion and that a one family used to live here type thing. But then they change it to a
Right.
barn. With how the
Okay.
hand dies, because there's no YB, it's kind of like she escapes the hand. She actually lives with the hand, like roaming around for like a week. Like she doesn't do it immediately.
Just
Like
roams
the
around her
next day,
house.
it roams around the house outside. The
Do
cat
her
is like
parents notice?
no, like at one time it like scratches at her window when she's sleeping, and it like runs
What the
away,
fuck? What? She just
and she like does
lets it
nothing about
exist.
it. And
What does the cat do?
the cat just like warns her about it. He just like paws at her, and one day she like grabs all her dolls, which I think this is where the doll idea came from. She grabs all her dolls and she goes to the kitchen and is like, "Can I borrow a blanket or something?" And then her mother's like, "Aren't you too old to play with dolls or something?" Which is a
Oh, was there
line.
no doll? Was there no doll in the book?
No.
Like the original doll? Oh
Yeah.
wow.
No. Which is
Okay.
something that Coraline says in the movie, where when she gets the doll in the movie, she says, "I'm too old to play with dolls," which is kind of like the connection there. And she takes her dolls and has a picnic on top of the well. So she takes the boards off the well, lays the blanket over it, and then puts the dolls on the four corners. And then she like holds the key out and like, or no, she goes up to one of the women and she's like, "Do you want to join me on this picnic?" And the woman's like, "No." And then she's like, "Oh, I have this special key." Like she taunts the hand and is like, "I have this special key, blah blah blah." And the woman's like, "Cool." And then the hand
Cool.
like follows her to the well, and she like takes it off her neck and holds it in front of her, and the hand like jumps for it, and
Oh
is
shit.
like falls into the well with the key in the blanket because it's like a punji trap essentially. And then she like covers the well again, and I think that's not how the hand dies. There was another thing.
That's so fancy. I like the movie. It was also very exciting in the movie when it happened.
There's actually a deleted scene in the movie. They made it, which ties into a scene
What?
from the book. The children's backstories. So there's one child. There's like the little boy, and the little boy is like kind of transcoded, but not, because that's what they did with the
Hey.
kids when they were back when he was alive, like the early 1800s maybe. He basically was like, or Coraline was like, "Are you a boy or a girl?" And the boy was like, "I don't know. When I was little, I had long hair and I wore skirts, but now I wear pants and they cut my hair." And so it's kind of like, oh, he's trans, but like
Oh my
that's
god,
kind
he's
of
trans.
that's
That
kind of
is what
how
they did to little boys.
what
Have
they
you seen
did
pictures
back
of
then.
Teddy Roosevelt, like President Teddy
Yeah.
Roosevelt when he was a little
Yes.
boy?
Yeah.
He had like pigtails and a skirt.
Yeah.
Because that's
And
just
like,
how they raise their boys.
yeah, that's like,
Gender roles, man.
and he was like
They change.
he was like an old century kid. And then later in the book, when he got his soul back and his memories, he's like, you know what? I remember. I am a boy, and so I guess that's this boy, but he was kind of transcoded.
He's
um,
very transcoded. I support it.
One of the girls, she grew up. I think she grew up at the house, and the only thing she
Oh.
remembers was her mother and tulips. And tulips connected to the
Was
movie because they planted a bunch of tulips in the garden, and
right.
they described.
Someone in the movie, one of the ghost kids said, like, I only remember my mother, which is interesting too.
Yeah. So I think it was like the second girl. It wasn't the grandma's sister, but it was like the second girl who was like really tall.
Yeah.
And she was like, "I
Okay.
remember my mother and tulips, but I wish I remembered the names of my mother and the names of the tulips." And Coraline's like,
Aw.
"Tulips don't have names. They're just tulips." And she's like, "I swear they have names." And I was like,
Aw.
"This is interesting." Um, but each of their souls are kind of tied to what their backstories were. Like the tulip girl, her I forget where her soul was, because it wasn't in the garden, because the garden wasn't, it was there, but it wasn't a wait, was it? Yes, it was. No, it wasn't. Was it? Fuck. Was it?
Fuck.
I don't remember.
I
Yes, it
wonder
was.
if the tulip is tied to the parents being like garden writers too.
Well, the
I don't
tulips.
know.
Okay, so the tulips are tied to the soul. Like the girl's soul was described as like a blazing red color, like the tulips that the girl had described. So like the color of the soul was similar to her backstory. So each of the kids' souls were tied
Aw.
to what the backstory were. I forget what
What's
the third
what's the
girl
last girl?
was. I don't remember. But at the deleted scene in the movie,
Right.
um, was, I think the kids were at the picnic. Like at the end of the movie, they had like the garden picnic or whatever. But I think I remember
Right.
seeing a deleted scene where the ghosts were at the picnic. Because in the movie,
Oh, that's so
or in the
cute.
book,
Because they get freed.
she doesn't have
Oh my god.
a dream.
I when she in the movie when she's like it's time to free the souls, sticks them under her pillow. Like where did that idea come from? Why was that her gut instinct to just stick them under her pillow and hope for the best? It was so funny to me, and it worked too.
I don't know. know, because that's what she did in the movie as well, but she had a picnic with them first. She
Aww.
brought them out onto, like, or maybe this was in her dream. Let me see. I think she had a picnic,
It's
and she, like, put the
adorable.
souls down, and the ghosts all took a corner, and
Aww.
they, like, had a picnic or whatever. Let's see. They were so sweet. I loved how they talked to her.
When they call her Miss or whatever, that was cute.
Oh yeah, they called her, like, mistress and lady and something like that. Oh, one of the kids was like, "This is the finest food I've eaten in centuries," which is so sad.
Aww. That's so sad. I feel so bad for them.
So she dreamed the picnic, but in the movie, I think she just dreamed them being like, "Oh, we're free, but the hand is still present, so you have to get rid of the hand or whatever." Which is, I guess, how they connected the right hand. Whatever. I don't like how they did the hand thing, but who was your favorite character?
Wybie.
Rip Wybie. He doesn't exist.
He's so many people's favorite character.
I like the dad. He's my favorite character.
Oh, I love the dad. I wish he was a little more involved instead of being at the computer writing all the time, but other than that, I like him a lot. I like the other dad, actually. The other dad's my favorite.
I love both dads.
He's so sweet.
And the lesbians.
What do you give this movie out of 5 stars?
I give the movie like a 4.3, and I give the book like a 4.6.
I like the movie a lot of intentional detail that I kind of want us to go more into. Very well made. I wish it was slightly less confusing. Really good, spooky thing for a kid. I give it 4.6. Thank you for watching our video. If you like this, Happy Halloween. We should have said that earlier.
Oh, yeah,
Happy Halloween. It's spooky time, and in honor of the spookiest of seasons, we have reviewed the spookiest movie known to man, Coraline.
Coraline.
So, if you like this, you should subscribe, because why wouldn't you
not?
subscribe?
Why not?
If you've listened this far, you must like our spooky movie talk, and we do other movies. We do more scary ones, and we do other kid ones too. So if this was your jam, go watch Paranorman or something. We're cool, so you should subscribe to us and like the video and comment what do you think about Coraline, and if there were any movies you want us to podcast.
Oh yeah.
See you next time on Telly Talk. Bye.
Goodbye.